Please welcome Sally Elatta.
All right, let me just make sure. Can everybody hear me okay? Is this loud and clear? Okay, awesome. So give me 1 second. Let me just switch presentations. And we should be good to go. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited to be back here with the PMI chapter. My name is Sally Elatta. Let me kind of give you a very quick overview of who I am, my background, and then we'll jump into this very important subject for today, which is all about servant leadership. I started Agile Transformation. I'm probably known most for Agile, even though the topic we're going to talk about today, which is leadership and becoming a servant leader really is beyond Agile. Whether you are using Agile or using traditional methodologies, waterfall, it doesn't really matter. I think this really transcends. It goes into project management, leadership, beyond even project management. So just wanted to let you know this is not an Agile specific discussion today. My background is technical. So I actually come from a technical background. I was a software developer and an engineer. I had 2 positions as a web architect, both on the .NET and the Java side. I did a lot of training on technical Java, WebSphere, and IBM certified. I fell in love with Agile and Scrum and that whole methodology about 6 years ago. And really loved the results-driven, let's get things done, let's have people collaborate, a lot about empowerment. So I've been kind of educating and coaching people on these methods ever since. So that's just a little bit about my background. Here's the agenda for today. I didn't know how I was going to do the subject justice. I mean, servant leadership. I'm doing a workshop in 2 weeks, a whole 2 days, just on the discussion of what it means to become a servant leader and how to handle command and control and how to start transforming yourself. So I thought, the best that I can do today is very quickly give you some of the realities of disengagement, very quick there, and then give you an overview of what servant leadership is about, but then walk you through the eyes of somebody that works for servant leaders, how they would describe who a servant leader is. Not just by characteristics, but by behavior. What is it that servant leaders actually do? I'm going to end the session with a really interesting discussion of what is the root cause behind command and control behavior. What's the root cause? Because if you can identify the root cause, and by the way, I'm going to challenge each and every one of us, because I'm going to come up with a theory here that all of us have some level of command and control, some level of the need for control, and it's only after you find your root cause, your driver, can you really start to transform and maybe let go just a little bit so that you can move into more team empowerment. So that's the agenda for today. The first part that I want to talk about is there is huge value to empowerment. They say that organizations that have high-performing teams, that have highly engaged teams, statistically perform 4 times higher when they actually track their stock prices compared to the regular market. I don't know, are you guys familiar with Southwest? So Southwest Airlines, even though it's not the best time to talk about airline industry or any one of them, is considered to be one of these high-performing servant leader teams who are very collaborative. Do you feel different when you go to Southwest versus any of the other airlines? Do you feel any kind of difference? There's a twist there, right? They're more fun, more engaging. I don't know if you noticed, the check-in process itself is different than the other ones. So they say if you actually they track the group, almost like a portfolio of all of these servant leader, high-performing teams, really engaged, and it was 4 times. The interesting thing is that the opposite can also be true. Gallup organization found that there are 22 million actively disengaged employees every year, costing about $350 billion. We're hearing a lot these days in the news about cutting out waste, and you're hearing a lot about lean, right? So I'm assuming your company either has been speaking about or is speaking about becoming more lean and cutting out waste. Do you think there's a lot of waste here? Does that seem like maybe a big number that could possibly be resolved? So, what are the signs of disengagement? Because you're probably thinking, well, what does it really mean that somebody's disengaged? My task-oriented thinking. My task is, look, I just do what I need to do, and I don't really care what happens around me. I just need to get my job done, and that's as much as I want to offer here. Okay? So this is my list, and I've got my list down, and I'm going through my checklist. Conflict with others blame game, when you start to hear a lot of, well, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. This is just not my problem. Okay, this is somebody else's is the issue over here. Lots of blaming. Now, some level of blaming, I'm not saying means disengagement. As a matter of fact, some passionate people get into conflicts because they are engaged. We're talking about lots of conflict, lots of blaming. It's also the victimhood mentality. I walk into a lot of companies where people are just like, oh, woe with me, you know, status quo, this is just the company, this is just the way that we are, you know, we're never going to change. Things will never get better, this is just the way that it is. That's just our policies, this is the way we do things, that very victimhood mentality, status quo. Disinterest in the actual work is a sign of lack of engagement, decreased productivity, absenteeism, that just enough to keep the job style. Just enough to keep the job, you know, I don't really need to go over and beyond or even much under, I just need to keep this job. What's in it for me? Why should I help? Why should I go help another department or another area? You know, that's not really part of my job description. You know, my job does not say, that's on my checklist of things that I do. Also okay, I'm stuck, boss, what would you like me to do next? You know, I need to go to my boss to make sure that every next action is being. Maybe not all of this, but how many of you, with a show of hands, have experienced some of this in your current organization? I'm just curious. Okay. So what that is some level of disengagement. Some level of disengagement, right? What that translates into, what they'll tell you is, oh, this is waste. This is all wasteful behavior. So what are some of the causes, real quickly? Management style, from all the research that we've done, is one of the #1 causes for disengagement, for people to act away. Command and control, directive, micromanagement was at the top. When people are told what to do at every single step, when the manager, the leader, is so commanding and controlling and micromanaging, and if you make a mistake, comes out the whip. How dare you make a mistake? You don't make mistakes here. You need to check with me before you make another mistake, right? That disconnects people. People shut off. People do not think anymore, and they don't want to contribute because you know what? It's not worth it for them. That's too much risk. So they would rather play it safe. Overworked, underappreciated. Do you think there's some of that happening these days with all the layouts? Right? You know, you're laying off half the team, but the other half of the team has to still get the same work done at the same time with the same budget. Right? So there's a ton of, you know, overworked, underappreciated, and so somebody could just disengage and say, you know what, at a given point, I'm going to have to balance my family with these 70 to 80 hours of work, and I'm going to have to choose one of them. No sense of purpose. This is really interesting. What I found is that people want 2 types of purpose. They want a purpose for their team, for their role. I want to know what I deliver. What's my importance? How do I change the bottom line? How do I influence value in this company? What does my team deliver? So it's like really, you know, what do me and my team have value to deliver? What's our purpose? But people also want to work for a company where they understand the vision of the company. Like they're really excited about it. Like they know what this company is about. They said that the CEO of Walgreens, he had a very simple vision. He said, we will be in every corner of every street. I mean, do you think he's achieving half of that vision? Right? It seems like everywhere you turn, right, there's a Walgreens. So good for him for simplifying the vision that much and having people really believe in it. But it's really about, do I believe in something? Is there a sense of purpose? Is there something driving me here? A lot of us work and we really don't even know what the true purpose is. You know, I see so many people that don't even know what who the customer is that we're servicing. You know, what is really our impact to society?